Okay, I'm continuing my reading. What I'm doing in this series is to read through the entire standard works of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. This consists of the Bible, the Book of Mormon, the Doctrine and Covenants, and the Pearl of Great Price. I'm reading in a chronological order of events, not according to publication or volume, and so I will be skipping around just a little bit as I move along. In my last video, I began reading the chapter 15 in the first book of Samuel. And this is where God commanded Saul to go and destroy the Amalekites. And which he does, but he doesn't do. He saves the king and he saves some of the animals alive, saying that he's going to sacrifice them. And that's kind of where we leave off, where Samuel is chastising him, saying, you should have just done what God told you to do. You shouldn't have tried to amend it, you might say. Now, in my last video, I did forget that I did mention that there was going to be some Joseph Smith translations, and I did forget to read this one. So before I continue in where we left off, I want to go back. This is verse 11 in chapter 15. Now, what the Joseph Smith translation is, this is an inspired correction or translation of the Bible done by Joseph Smith to correct or restore those passages that had been lost over the years. And this is a sample of that. This is verse 11. The King James reads, "It repenteth me that I have set up Saul to be king. For he has turned back from following me, and hath not performed my commandments. And it grieved Samuel, and he cried unto the Lord all night." Okay. Joseph Smith translation right here states instead, "I have set up Saul to be a king, and he repenteth not that he hath sinned. For he is turned back from following me, and hath not performed my commandments." So it's not the Lord repenting. It's saying that Saul is not repenting. It seems that Saul is gradually getting a little bit, he's letting the authority of the kingship go to his head a little. He started out as a good, honorable man, a little self-conscious, not really thinking he should be king, but he is now getting to the point where the kingship is kind of going to his head. The power is going to his head a little bit. Anyways, let us pick this up where we actually left off. This is verse 24. Now, just previously, as I said, Samuel was chastising Saul, and you have that famous quote, "To obey is better than sacrifice, and to hearken than the fat of rams." Okay, we're going to pick this up now. Verse 24. And Saul said unto Samuel, "I have sinned, for I have transgressed the commandment of the Lord and thy words, because I feared the people and obeyed their voice. Now therefore I pray thee, pardon my sin, and turn again with me, that I may worship the Lord." And right here, Saul is saying he kept the animals because the people wanted them. He feared the people more than he feared God. And he was putting even when he made the sacrifice, and that story I mentioned, he is putting his trust in his army rather than in the Lord. And so when the people wanted to gather the spoils, he let them. He justified it by saying they would sacrifice the animals. But he let himself be persuaded by the people to go against the commandments of God. Anyways, verse 26. And Samuel said unto Saul, "I will not return with thee, for thou hast rejected the word of the Lord, and the Lord hath rejected thee from being king over Israel." And as Samuel turned about to go away, he laid hold upon the skirt of his mantle, and it rent. And Samuel said unto him, "The Lord hath rent the kingdom of Israel from thee this day, and hath given it to a neighbor of thine, that is better than thou. And also, the strength of Israel will not lie, nor repent, for he is not a man that he should repent." Then he said, "I have sinned, yet honor me now, I pray thee, before the elders of my people and before Israel, and turn again with me, that I may worship the Lord thy God." So Samuel turned again after Saul, and Saul worshipped the Lord. So here you go. Saul confessed his sin, He said, but worship with me. He's trying to save face at this point. That's what he's really trying to do. Samuel says, nope, I'm not going to do it. God's rejected you as king. I got to reject you too. But as Samuel goes, Saul grabs him, grabs his clothes, and they get torn. And he says, well, that's what's going to happen to you. But that last thing is, I have sinned. Yet honor me now, I pray thee, before the elders. In other words, if you leave now, the people are all going to leave. This is going to ruin the kingdom. You got to come in with me so that we can stay united. You got to let me save face. Let me keep my honor in the eyes of the people so that we can stay united. Well, probably more just keep my honor in the eyes of the people, because I don't like being embarrassed like this. That's really what it is. He's saying, don't embarrass me like this. I'm the king. If you just walk out, what are the people going to think? So Samuel agrees, and they go in together. Let us finish this. 4 verses left here. Verse 32. Then said Samuel, bring ye hither to me Agag, the king of the Amalekites. And Agag came unto him delicately. And Agag said, surely the bitterness of death is past. And Samuel said, as thy sword hath made women childless, so shall thy mother be childless among women. And Samuel hewed Agag in pieces before the Lord in Gilgal. So he thought he was safe, but Then Samuel went to Ramah, and Saul went up to his house to Gibeah of Saul. And Samuel came no more to see Saul until the day of his death. Nevertheless, Samuel mourned for Saul, and the Lord repented that he had made Saul king over Israel. See, Samuel loved Saul, and he mourned for him. Even before Saul died, Samuel mourned for him because he saw his fall. But in the Joseph Smith translation, we do have the last verse there. Nevertheless, Samuel mourned for Saul, and the Lord repented that he had made Saul king over Israel. But Joseph Smith translation corrects this to say, and the Lord rent the kingdom from Saul, whom he had made king over Israel. So he's taking the kingdom from Saul. Now, we don't know how long Saul was king. There's a verse in the New Testament, in one of the Pauline epistles, I can't remember which one, where Paul indicates that Saul was king for 40 years. Now, I don't know if that's true. I'm not sure if that's even what Paul meant, but there's the indication there. Whether I can't remember if it's directly stated, but of course we do have several years after when he's rivals with David coming up. So if he was king for 40 years, then it is likely that this with the Amalekites happened around sometime between 15 and 20 years into his reign. So, anyways, we will leave that here, and I'll see you in the next one.